The New York Guardians won this past weekend. They beat Dallas 30-12. And this game was a prime example of just how misleading statistics can be. The New York Guardians quarterback, Luis Perez, was 16 for 30 passing. That's a 53% completion percentage. He had 229 yards, 1 touchdown, had one interception. He was nearly perfect, though, and yet statistics would not necessarily show that. There's a lot of questions. Why was his completion percentage so low? Why did he have such a low amount of completions, and why were his incompletion numbers so high? There are 2 reasons for that. Number 1 is he kept throwing the ball away to avoid sacks and to avoid having negative plays. He'd throw the ball into the stands rather than forcing the ball into coverage or rather than taking a sack. And people got to understand that incompletions are not all bad. We regularly treat incompletions like they're just the worst thing ever. But that's not true. Things are not all necessarily just black and white. There's nuance here, and nuance matters. Not all completions are bad completions. There is such a thing as good incompletions. New York also had 6 or 7 dropped passes. I personally lost track after the first 4. I went, oh my gosh. But Luis Perez threw some really great throws that got dropped. And that you can't account for in the statistics category. Also, his one interception was actually a great throw. It was a back shoulder fade that Mikael McKay tried to catch one-handed. The ball kind of bounced / rolled off of his hands, got tipped into a defender's hands, and intercepted. I like Mikael McKay. He's a big, strong receiver. He's got this really cool hood he wears on game day. But he has average hands, and that interception was on Mikael McKay. It was not Luis Perez's fault. Oh, and by the way, that people say, well, he only had 1 touchdown. The reason why Luis Perez only had 1 touchdown was on the 1-yard line, they took him out of the game, and they put in the backup quarterback, Marquise Williams, who's more athletic, to run a QB keep to score a touchdown. But Luis Perez is so awesome, man. He's a great vocal leader. He's a great communicator. And that cool moment, on the 1-yard line when Marquise Williams scored a touchdown on a quarterback keeper, you hear Luis Perez, who was mic'd up, you can hear him say, "That's a great call, coach. Good job." He's a team guy. He doesn't care about his numbers or his statistics. He doesn't mind if he has 50,000 incompletions. As long as his team wins, he's fine with that. He does what's best for his team, not what's best for his stat line. He doesn't care about the stats. He cares about winning and making good decisions, even if it means throwing the ball into the stands and hurting his, quote, completion percentage. Luis Perez, again, is a team guy. He was voted a team captain in the past week. That's really impressive. He wasn't even the starting quarterback week 1 for New York. And then also New York lost both of their starting tackles on the offensive line in this game. Their left tackle got ejected for fighting. Their right tackle got hurt and missed the rest of the game. And yet, despite having both of his tackles missing, on right and left side, Luis Perez still made great decisions and succeeded. And he stepped into throws as he was hit. He was getting hit a lot, but he was not afraid to get hit. He stepped into his throws, got knocked in the face a couple times. And he really only made one bad decision all game. It was a throw early in the game where he threw, I believe it was even on the first drive, where he threw an incompletion down the left sideline, kind of forcing a throw deep into double coverage. But that was it. I mean, the rest of the game, man, he did a great job. And you got to understand that Luis Perez is everything you would want in a quarterback. He's super coachable. He makes great decisions. He's a good vocal leader. He can beat man coverage with really accurate throws. Does a great job working through his progressions. He can start on the left side of the field, go 1, 2, that's not open. Where's my third read? That's not open. I can throw all the way across the field to his 4th read in his progression. It's a big deal. He's a great quarterback at reading defenses. And he avoids negative plays. He's not afraid, again, to throw the ball away, to avoid a sack, do what it takes to avoid a negative play. You got to understand, Luis Perez is Tom Brady. I mean, really, I'm dead serious. The way they play the game is so similar. It's such an efficient style of quarterback. I don't know, man. Luis Perez is just a student of the game, and I personally really enjoy watching him play. He wins because of his leadership and because of his preparation. Everywhere Luis Perez has gone, he's overachieved, he's surprised people, and the reason why he does that is because of his preparation. He's prepared, he's talented, but his preparation allows him to make good decisions to get the ball in the right spot, and his preparation allows him to have the talent to be ready when his name is called. He works incredibly hard. Again, he's prepared. He knows where to go with the ball, and because he does a lot of off-season training, he's prepared to make the right throw when it's required of him. I love it, man. I really, really enjoy watching Luis Perez. It's such a blast. You know, it's really cool. It's been fun to watch New York come together as a team in the last 2 weeks. New York's defense plays differently with Luis Perez at quarterback. They just do. They're more confident. I think it's because they realize they have a quarterback who gives them a chance to win, and their effort isn't going to be all for naught. You know, there was a play where Dallas ran a trick play, a flea flicker, and Dallas, you know, normally you would see a defense maybe be undisciplined and give up a big gain there. New York was not. New York was completely disciplined. Safety stayed home. Everyone did the right thing. And it's just fun to watch. Their defense, with Luis Perez at quarterback, New York's defense has made a big step forward and really improved. I also love New York's running back. Darius Victor is awesome. He's a super physical back. He runs really, really hard. And even as I look around the XFL, I see so many quality running backs throughout the league. And Darius Victor is definitely one of the better ones in the XFL. Now, I do have one concern. New York's center, Ian Silberman, is a troublemaker. He got a personal foul for fighting in this game in Week 5. This is not the first time either. He's been fighting in the past. I watched him against St. Louis cause a lot of trouble. Nearly got kicked out of the game. My one concern with New York actually moving forward is that Ian Silberman, it's with a B. So even Silberman might be what I see is a hothead who's kind of a wild card, and that could get New York into trouble down the road. Maybe a key play where they need a first down or they need something, and hothead Ian Silberman just gets all freaked out and gets kicked out or has a big penalty that costs them. So that concerns me because he's got a little bit of erratic behavior. But other than that, man, I feel really good about the New York Guardians moving forward.